people are going, not all the people, but many people, because, you know, lo and behold, the shops will be closed for 3 days. And meaning all the shops, because the Swiss government has made the rule that on Sunday, absolutely no shop is allowed to be open. That would be your Saturday, in order to prevent like big crowds going to the shops, and all the shops have to be closed by 7 o'clock in the evening. So that means like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like the shops are totally closed. Only takeaway and restaurants are also closed. So it will be interesting to see. I think this is the first time that there's no convenience shops open, you know, like petrol pumps and places like this. Because one is used, we have one just opposite the road, you know, I'm very used to if I'm lacking something, I just pop across the road and that's it. Whereas the next 3 days, this is it. And we have like tomorrow we have a puja, and then on the 26th in the evening, we start 21 Tara retreat. So then also I need a big altar. So I had to go shopping today already for that. And there's a lot of nervousness in the shops. You know, this kind of feeling as if we will maybe die of hunger at one point in these 3 days. Yeah, this is how our mind is reacting to these things, isn't it? Okay, Tom, do you need to say something, or can we just Noah, I didn't say Noah, Tom, yes, I asked Tom. But you're right. I mean, you know, there's always the same people. So, I mean, you can say hello to them. You can say, I hope you're well and feeling happy and all these kind of things.
Yes, so indeed, good evening to everyone. Thank you. We are very glad to see you back, and looking forward to your teaching, Daniela.
Well, that was for me. I thought you would be greeting the participants.
Well, I didn't mean that you don't have to talk. I just not again that we are
who we are, exactly. That's what this is what I'm saying. You can greet the people and say hello and all this, like a sangha, you know, as if it hasn't started yet, and you come in and you see everybody and you say hello, and you're very welcome to talk to each other before I come. You know, I mean, this is I think it gives kind of this sangha feeling, even if it's only over the internet, which is quite important, I think, at the moment. Okay, so we start again with practicing awareness, which is very, 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 very important, because otherwise we will not be able to transform our mind, unfortunately. You see, if it would be enough that we just know it in the head, we would all be totally free of any negative emotions, because none of us wants it. But we have what is, I think it was Tsogni Rinpoche who calls them residues, or, you know, tendencies, habits, leftovers from past actions that we haven't cleaned up, and then it makes us react in a way that we basically, you know, if we would be totally, fully in control of our mind. And when I say control of our mind, I don't mean like this. You see what I mean? I don't mean like clenching your teeth and like, no, I'm not going to get angry. That's not what I mean. When I say control of our mind, means there's no chance that, you know, we would react with unkindness, with anger, with self-centeredness or something like this. The same way as most of the time you react to your children, that even though you might show wrath or force, but at the back of your mind is always their well-being. So you wouldn't harm them like on purpose. So this is what we are trying to do. And so by being aware and not falling into the trap of the energy that these negative emotions or unhelpful emotions are giving us, then we can change these residues so that they're not making more seeds. Yeah, this is the main thing. So I think also it's quite important that you learn to rejoice also when you come home in the evening or you haven't been out, that you rejoice by saying, oh wow, I didn't hurt anybody, I didn't cheat, I didn't lie, I didn't steal anybody's possessions. You see, not only getting upset when you're doing the other side, which we usually do, but also to learn to see the good things that we have done. I mean, it's so important for our self-confidence. We have a tendency that we always very much identify with our negative side, but then we're not really recognizing or also seeing the positive side. Yeah. So I think His Holiness was asked that question, why is that? And then he just said, oh, because the positive side is normal and it's natural. This is why, we wouldn't be surprised when we say, oh, the water is wet. Yeah. So, and it's true. Well, sometimes we can act in a very kind way, but we're not surprised. We're not even noticing it. Yeah. Whereas when we're not very kind, then we sometimes make too big a story out of it. Yeah. Sometimes it's okay to just see it and to adjust if you can, but also, don't dwell on these things so much. It's not helpful. It just saps your energy. Yeah. Rather go more into things that are joyful. So in order to have a mind that is aware and that sees what is there, or a mind that knows that it is aware, knowing what is going on, the first step is always to keep the mind and the body relaxed. And we are holding tensions that sometimes we don't feel, and then they maybe change into pain, but we're not aware of them. So there's lots of reflections or meditations you can do in order to relax the body. And I just found one. If you want, I can then maybe send it to Tom if you want it, because, everything I say here is all stolen from somebody else, by the way. So don't think that I'm so clever by saying all these things. So we already did it once because I heard it, but I didn't do it properly. This calm meditation, CALM, and it's body scan, and it's about chest, it's about arms, it's about legs, and it's about mouth. So we'll do it as the person who has invented it, whom, of course, I have no clue who the person is, but it's definitely a very clever person. So I read through it just maybe half an hour ago. I found it. I just stumbled upon it as I was doing my emails, and I thought, oh, that's great. I'll print it out, and then we start by doing that this evening. And if you find it helpful, as I said, I will send it to Tom. I think I have your email, yeah. Or to anybody else who is usually doing these, or you can then just put it, or to Irit maybe, and then she can put it on the internet, or I don't know. Or I send it to you, and whoever wants it, you can let Tom know. Okay. Because it's so important, we don't pay enough attention to our body. We don't pay enough attention to the tensions in the body because it's another thing. We really got used to it. So try to sit with a straight back, if you can. Again, don't be too relaxed because then you fall asleep also. So that's not the point of training awareness, is not going to sleep. There's also great meditations you find on the internet, if you can't sleep, how to put yourself to sleep. But it's not meditation. The relaxation is just the first step. Then afterwards is to make the mind calm. And then when it's calm, it will become clear. So, calm, stable, and then it will become clear. Okay, so then just be aware that the body is sitting in a very simple way. Just again, we talk about awareness. Like just before, I wasn't in that awareness that the body is sitting. And most probably also you were not. So now just connect to the fact, unmistakingly knowing, being aware that the body is sitting. And already that, try to notice if it does something to the mind. Then after a few very conscious breathing in and breathing out, bring your awareness to your chest. Feel how the chest is kind of lifting up, how it's opening with the breathing, how the chest is moving, creating enough room for your lungs and belly to fully expand. Bring your awareness to any sensation there. And then we start to explore, not to manipulate, just to explore, just to notice. Is your breath shallow or short? Is it slow? Is it even? Anything is okay. Just let the breath be as it is. Just observe it, notice it. And you will feel that it will start to regulate itself when you are aware of it. As you regulate your body and brain, you will also start to regulate your emotions, impulses, and attention. It comes together. Body sensations and emotions are very, very, very connected. Emotions are not in the brain, they're not in the head. It's not where you feel them. And then check, is there any tightness or tension in your chest? So first allow your breath to expand your chest, releasing any tensions there. So what I usually say, what we can do as we breathe in, we notice the sensations. As we breathe out, you give space. You become open and spacious. Then, something that I forgot to do because I didn't know that it was part of the exercise, tense all the muscles throughout your chest and torso. Hold a count of 3 as you notice what tension feels like. And then allow your muscles to relax and feel the tension flow away and relaxation flow in with the next few breaths. Then shift your awareness now into your arms, from your shoulders down to your fingers. Lift and drop your shoulders once and let your arms fall to your sides or into your lap. Then scan your awareness upwards from your hands to the forearms and upper arms. Do your arms feel nervous or are they still? Can you just allow them to settle if they feel nervous? Are your arms and hands heavy or are they light? Or are your hands tensed into fists? If so, just release that tension or the heaviness. Scan up your arms to your shoulders, continuing to notice any other sensations that might give you a clue as to your emotional state, especially with the clenched fists, the pulled up shoulders, or the heavy arms. Then squeeze your fists, tense your arms all the way up to your shoulders, and again hold for 3 breaths, feeling the tension. Then release the tension and let your arms relax completely. Take 3 more breaths, enjoying the relaxation you feel in your arms. Then direct your attention down to your legs, from your hips down through your toes, allowing your attention and breath to flow through your thighs, calves, and feet. Often our legs can be shaking with anxiety or hold tension and stress. Notice if your legs are communicating anything this moment, and just allow them to become still if they are. Then gently begin to squeeze the muscles in your feet, up through your legs and around your waist, holding that tension for 3 breaths, noting the sensations. And then again release. Take 3 more breaths as you feel the tension flowing out of your legs. Then the last one is M for the mouth. Lastly, shift your awareness to your mouth and jaw, a place where many of us hold tension and clench our muscles without realizing it. What expression is your mouth communicating inwardly and outwardly? Stress, anxiety, anger, or fear? Notice this and any other sensations in your mouth and even the rest of your head and neck. Now clench your mouth and other muscles around it, holding for 3 breaths, and then again release. As you let go of the tension, allow your mouth to relax into a smile to yourself and to the world around you. Take a few more moments to enjoy the sensations of relaxation and smiling. And you might take some time to reflect on where in your body you tend to hold emotions and tensions and adjust or breathe into those areas before finishing the practice. Then we just do a few more minutes of just silent meditation where you choose your object. So actually this is just a preparation for the meditation. It's just one way to do a body scan. And then you allow your attention to find the object, which can be your breath, just very simply in breath, out breath, wherever you feel it the best, wherever you feel it the most comfortable also. And then we just allow the attention to settle or to rest on the breath, not to go into thoughts. Very conscious choice. Now it will be the breath, my object of attention. Knowing that I'm breathing in when I'm breathing in, knowing that I'm breathing out when I'm breathing out. And then we can spend a few minutes to think about our motivation, why we are participating in this class, why we are giving our free time. And best always is to think about our own values, which values we would like to be able to live spontaneously, naturally, without effort, not needing like special mindfulness, like that the residues of behaving or of acting in an unskillful way, maybe you have a wish that they disappear, that the values become more and more apparent, but not with tension and not with judging yourself when we fail. Like to really give yourself the permission to be kind. And whenever you do these studies or when you meditate, to always bring a friendly feeling into it, a friendly feeling towards yourself. To promise that you will take good care of yourself the same way as you take good care of your children or your friends or your parents. No, not with forcing and hating and tension, but with wisdom and compassion. And then in order to make this a little bit, wider, not just to be concentrated on ourselves, I want to be able to live these values. Because yes, of course, then I myself will be a happier person. My life will become much easier, but also then I will be able to benefit others with my presence, with my body actions, with my speech actions, with my thoughts. And that this is the purpose of doing these things. Okay. Okay, so this would be just one method to, to really very consciously learn to relax the body if you find it helpful. I mean, it's not very complicated anyway. I think it's quite helpful if somebody guides you through it, because when I do body scan alone, I usually lose it after 2 minutes and then I go off somewhere. So if I do it, I quite like it when somebody is leading and somebody is guiding it. But again, these are very good methods, but don't forget, this is just the beginning. It's just the first step of then meditate. Yeah. And it is worthwhile. It's really worthwhile to just, to use 20 minutes to relax the body and then use 5 minutes to do real quality meditation by having your awareness on the object. Because otherwise it's like warm-ups for a marathon. Yeah, it's really worthwhile doing it. So, and then with time, the more the body is relaxed, the easier the attention will stay on the object. Is that okay? Do you have any comments to that or any questions? No? All clear? Did you find it helpful? Yeah. Yeah, you see, when somebody is guiding your meditations, it's very helpful because the mind cannot go off. It's very difficult to shut somebody totally off. But again, don't get too used to somebody guiding you. Then learn to do it by yourself, because that is the purpose. Because otherwise, you're just sitting there in a guided meditation, and actually in the gaps, the mind goes, a little bit all over the place. But then the voice is bringing it back. What you need to learn, or what would be good if you could learn that the mind comes back by itself, like that you notice by yourself that the mind is gone, and that the gaps between going off and coming, needing to come back, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then the mind becomes calmer and calmer and calmer, and then what you will have gaps between the thoughts, which then can be very profound, and you can really start to understand things like your mind in a much more profound way. Yeah, when we all of a sudden there's this, it's difficult to describe, and I don't really want to describe, because otherwise you start looking for it, because they only come when you don't look for them, when the mind is totally relaxed and you're awake and you are aware. And then what will happen is you take it out into your daily life. So then, you don't have to regret when residues are kind of taking over. So that is the purpose. So I would really suggest, if you don't have it yet, that you do just simple sitting, at least 5 or 10 minutes every day. I mean, I know you have very busy days, but try to get into the habit. People say, I don't have time to do that. Then, well, because we don't give it priority. I mean, have you ever had 2-3 days where you didn't have time to eat? Have you ever had that? Yeah. So, because why? Because we give eating priority. So then also because a lot of your mental hygiene, a lot of your happiness actually, and your mental well-being comes from this, when you learn to just be aware and calm the mind. You can, sorry, Netta, you can spare yourself psychologists after a while. If you don't need to go and pay money anymore, because you will become your own psychologist. So I know that Netta is a psychologist. I don't know about the others. So whoever else is, I'm sorry, you might get out of a job, but at the moment, definitely not. I mean, here in Switzerland, because of the Corona situation, the psychiatrists, the psychologists, they have lots of work. I don't know how it is in Israel, because it's, it's the fear, it's the loneliness, it's the not having the pleasure. This comes from when our only source of, or like our biggest source of happiness is pleasure. Like especially now it's around Christmas, and normally we have everywhere these Christmas markets. Again, these Christmas markets, in Switzerland, they exist since 20 years. Now I'm 70. When I was 20, we didn't have Christmas markets. We didn't go and drink hot wine like 2 weeks before Christmas and go out with friends and freeze to death and, and outside and drink this wine. But now, the label is, this is fun, this is beautiful, this is wonderful. And then when you're not used to, well, but before we didn't have it and we also survived, then the depression kicks in, and then the lack starts to kick in. And if you don't have anything to look for except for maybe, internet, telephone, shopping on the internet, or I don't know, watching movies, TV, and all these kinds of things, then of course you start to get, you're kind of at the loss when you don't have access to all these outside things that in general one thinks is creating happiness, and then all the residues then they start to come up, and it's quite frightening. Yeah, and the confusion, I mean, it's like all the governments are a bit confused now. We have the shops closed again, and then maybe they will open again, because they will see. It's only when they do these things that they see that it creates problems because when all the restaurants are closed, and we're in Europe, so most of the things come by lorry, by big trucks. So then if all the restaurants are closed, the people who drive these lorries, where are they going to eat? Because they're coming from Eastern Europe, going to the ports in France or somewhere. They're on the road for days or weeks sometimes. Where are they going to shower? Where are they going to the toilet? Where are they going to eat hot food if all the restaurants are closed? So it's like all these problems only come up once you think, first you think, oh yeah, closing everything is a good idea because it will stop the virus. But then you see that you're creating another problem. So the Buddha calls this, how does the Buddha call this situation? Noah, you said something, but you have to open your microphone. How does the Buddha call this situation?
I don't remember in English, so I asked Nir how you say it in English.
You can say the Sanskrit word. Usually we use the Sanskrit word. We have nirvana, and opposed to nirvana, then we have
samsara.
Exactly. So that's samsara. You know, you kind of try to figure out one outside problem, and then you have another one that comes along. And then you could kind of start to work with that one, and then you have another one, and then you have another one, and then you have another one. And so it never ends, because the outside condition is not the real cause for our unhappy state of mind. The real cause is our past karma and our present unhelpful states of mind, like anger, attachment, greed, jealousy, pride, arrogance, fear, depression, these kind of things. Fear, you know, again, fear, I'm using fear because in Buddhist terms, or if you look at when the Buddhas or in the Buddhist scriptures, when they describe the mind or the mental factors, fear is not mentioned. And this is a big surprise for us Westerners. Why is the Buddha not talking about fear? But the thing is, fear is everywhere. Fear is lying beyond, or like behind, all the other negative emotions. Fear is the instigator for anger. Fear is the instigator for greed. Fear is the instigator for miserliness. Fear is the instigator for jealousy. That's why it's not mentioned separately. And where does this fear come from? Is lacking awareness. Awareness of what? Now, not awareness of your breath, but awareness of, for example, the law of cause and effect, karma. So in the next verse, we come to that. Or like also lacking awareness that the I, me, the way that I think I exist, I don't exist that way, you know? And the lacking awareness of not knowing what really brings happiness and what brings suffering. Yeah, so that's where the fear comes from. So you have wrong use or lacking awareness, from that comes fear, from that comes all the other stuff. That's why they don't mention it like separately, because it never comes separate. It always comes then with, you know, with some reaction. Okay, so let's look at the text. If you're not happy with what I'm saying, or if you have something to say or ask, you know, again, don't forget, this is a discussion group. It's not per se a teaching. I mean, that's my intention. Okay, so last time, so please just open up your microphones and, you know, ask or say something, or why is there? Now you can see the text, I think, yeah? Yeah, great. So we were, where were we? I think we did that one, you know, should one person ignorantly do, we did these two things, yeah, last time, and especially that one, because I think that was the homework. Yeah, that we get very angry when somebody is injuring us that is animate, like that has a, you know, a mind, and we can tolerate, we have quite a lot of tolerance and acceptance when the things are inanimate. Like, it doesn't mean that you're not getting upset or, you know, nervous or a little bit angry at the rain, or at, you know, I don't know, if you hit your foot against a chair or something, but that's never the same kind of hatred that you, or anger that you have like towards a person. Yeah, because the anger dies down very quickly against the chair. You're not going to burn the chair or throw it out, whereas you might throw out a human being that is not kind to you. And then we did that one also. I think, should one person ignorantly do wrong and another ignorantly become angry with him, who would be at fault and who would be without fault? So ignorantly, again, here means lacking awareness of all the conditions that come together when somebody is happening to us, when something is happening to us that we dislike. Yeah. So I asked you, I think the homework was try to notice your different reaction when you are getting hurt or harmed by animate and inanimate things. Did anybody do that? And could you say if you noticed something?
I think you, the homework were, are you angry from stranger or for someone else, like you are angry from someone you love?
No. I think we were really, it's okay. Maybe that's how you understood it, but that's okay. But the question was more, you know, when you get pain from, you know, something falling on your head, like you're trying to get a book, yeah, and then the book slips and it falls on your head and it hurts your head. Are you getting the same way angry from when somebody hits you? Do you see what I mean? Because I remember we had the discussion because we talked about intention, isn't it?
Yes.
Sure.
I think that if something fall on your head, you cannot blame him. And if somebody, a person, make you angry, you can blame somebody else, not yourself. So.
But the pain is the same, isn't it?
The pain is not the same. I think the pain when
the pain in your body, Israel, the pain in your body is the same.
No, when somebody make me angry, I feel
no,
it.
No. We're talking about the same thing. Wait. Don't confuse like one situation to a totally different situation. No. I'm talking about if something falls on your head like a branch when you walk in the forest,
right,
and you hurt your head, and somebody hits you with a stick, it's the same pain. Will you react in the same way?
No.
That's what the verse is saying.
No, of course not. Because if a branch will fall on my head, maybe I will swear and I'll walk away. But if somebody will hit me,
yeah,
I'll have to think maybe I have to protect myself or.
Yeah, but you already, I mean, this is it. You already, also when you're in a forest and there's a storm, you also think you have to protect yourself and you run out. You see, what Shantideva is trying to tell us that we're not logic. You know, it seems the way we discussed it also in the Swiss group here, it seems like totally normal that I'm not getting angry at the tree or the branch who's falling on my head, and I'm getting angry and you know, at the person who is hitting me, although the pain is the same. Here in Switzerland, I took the example. You're going out, and all of a sudden, you can also use it in Israel now because you have a lot of rain. All of a sudden, there's a thunderstorm and you don't have an umbrella and you're totally wet. Totally, okay, by the rain. You get a bit upset, you know, you go like, why now? Because you get upset. So nobody's saying that you're not getting upset at all. But then a car is coming and there's puddles on the road. And then a car is coming and whoosh, you know. So you're already wet.
But there's a lot of resistance now. The ego is not ready to accept it.
Yeah, so is it logic? This is the question.
No, it's the ego.
Exactly. So this is what Shantideva is saying. He's showing us we can be patient and tolerant when things are, you know, when things are not animate, when nobody has an intention to harm us. Yeah.
I want to share something.
I just need to finish. Netta, so why not be tolerant with somebody that is harming us? So now again, if next time you go out and you see there's black clouds, you protect yourself. So being tolerant doesn't mean you're not protecting yourself. Yeah, you can protect yourself against the rain, and you can protect yourself, of course, not with an umbrella, against people who are out to harm you. But not with anger. Again, it's this whole thing, you know, not with anger.
Yeah, the protection is by not getting angry.
Exactly.
This is the protection.
Yeah. And when we are not getting angry, then also we're not creating new seeds for more anger in the future or other things kind of happening to us. Because both of it, as the Buddha would explain, and this is now the karma, do you trust it or not? So both of it is karma. The branch falling on your head is a negative action from the past where we have hurt somebody. And the person hitting us also is negative karma ripening. So both of it is karma ripening. It's not that the branch is coincidence, I mean, this is how the Buddha is explaining karma. There is no coincidence. Even if something inanimate kind of falls on your head is also coming from a past action. Or, something inanimate in a good way is happening to you. That's also from a past positive action. Okay. Yes, Netta, now you can.
I wanted to share. I was riding the bicycle with my husband in the nature, very beautiful, and it was muddy, and there were like obstacles going through. And I don't like mud, but it was okay. But then there was a navigation running, something that organized with many cars. And suddenly in the nature, cars came. And I got so upset, really upset, that they're ruining my nature time, those cars. And then I felt it was small but big, a shift, because I'm thinking about myself, but there is a navigation run that is going on. It looks really fun.
Yeah.
And I moved out of myself, and I say, rejoice. This is great navigation run in the Corona time that people are stuck in the houses. And it changed my feeling. And then I said, this is genius, this Buddha thing. The rejoicing is genius.
Yeah.
And
of course. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
It was only one moment there, but that it succeeded. So
yeah, but it's okay. So it succeeded once, it can succeed again, and then again you can go back to riding your bike. Whereas if you're angry, we carry the anger with us, and all the fun of you riding your bike is gone. So this is why when Mo says, not getting angry, that is the protection. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Whereas getting angry, we're just hurting ourselves. But our illogical, ego-centered mind does not want to see this. Yeah. So basically what this verse is saying, that, hey, but look, you can be not getting angry when you get hurt by something that is inanimate. So why getting so angry when something is animate? Yeah, so this is the whole logic. And especially what Netta said, if, okay, you were not counting on all these people with their cars being there. So that's, again, is attachment, is our expectation. This is my nature. So then when we see them, we get upset. But when we feel that we're getting upset, it's exactly the right thing. You say, oh, but they're having a good time. So it's better than being at home and fighting with each other. Yeah, they come home and they have moved their bodies and they've done something else and they've been running around, and that's a good thing. And then we rejoice, and then your bicycle thing becomes more pleasant. Okay.
I can share also something.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I thought that for me, in a way, it's a matter of relationships. I mean by that if I scratch my finger under the door, I can easily become very, very angry at the door.
Yeah.
I've now feelings for her. For the door. On the opposite, when I went out, I was rushing at the road on the pavement, and all of a sudden I fell down, And all people looked at me, and some of them ran to me, may I can help you, may I can help you. And I felt shy to get angry on them. I felt shy of because, they are people, so they can laugh at me, they can think things of me, and the door is really objective, natural. I can really get angry at it with no blame, with no hard feelings.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, that with the door, we can get angry and we don't have to be ashamed and this and that. But this is not exactly what Shantideva was saying. He's just telling us that we can't. Because if you get angry at the door, then also, but again, you're not hitting twice against the door. You're not abusing the door. It's more that we get angry with ourselves that we've been so careless. Yeah. And I tell you, I think I already told you the incident when I was traveling from McLeodganj to Delhi, and I had these 2 bottles of apple syrup with me. Do you know the story?
No, I didn't hear it.
So I just tell you. So, again about karma, when we know the law of cause and effect, and we know that person who is harming me, they are just a condition. They are not the cause. The cause lies in my past action, which was negative, or done out of ignorance or whatever. So I had these 2 bottles of apple syrup, which can only be bought in Himachal Pradesh. And I was going to visit a person who has cancer in Delhi, and she loves that. She loved that syrup. So I bought 2 bottles, and I put it, on the potalavas. For those people who know, I put it where you usually put the hats and the little things. And the road from Dharamsala to Delhi for about maybe 5 hours. It's a 12-hour trip. So for 5 hours, it really goes like this, because it's in the mountains, and the drivers, they race each other. Like there's many buses on that, overnight buses and you go like this. In the middle of the night, because it's a night bus, one of the bottles fell on my head from above, and then on the floor, and it didn't break. And I tell you, I was so happy, because I was immediately thinking, what if it would have broken on my head and cut my head with that syrup? Can you imagine? What if it would have fallen on the floor? And the floor is not carpet, the floor is metal in these buses. What if it would have broken on the floor? Syrup. You see, the driver, he would not have stopped. They just drive on, and then there's syrup going everywhere, and everybody being angry at me for getting sticky feet and stuff like this. I saw all the things that could have happened, and I knew I put it up there. I could have blamed the driver, but the driver is just a condition. If there's no bottle, he can drive as fast as he wants. Nothing falls on my head. But can you imagine how I would have reacted if somebody else would have put that bottle? Because that was another reason why I was happy that it fell on my head and not somebody else's head. Not because I'm so compassionate, but I would have been afraid of the reaction of that person, because I know how I would have reacted if somebody else would have put that bottle. Which idiot is like, how we react. So it shows us, if we take into consideration this law of cause and effect, which of course it implies that we start to believe in rebirth, because otherwise it doesn't, for many situations, it doesn't make sense, okay? And so this would be the next verse. There is also somebody wrote something in the chat, Joyce. It's the same pain, but a different reaction. Yes, exactly. So Shantideva is just pointing it out to us. It's the same point. It's the same pain. Why do we react differently? He's just saying it's not logic. Because on top of it, we have the pain. When we are angry, we have the pain of anger. So we have 2 pains. Yeah. Whereas when something happens, and especially with the 6th chapter, we want to practice patience. So you need situations where you can practice. You need these people who go on the, how do you call it? Navigation run. I think it's called orientation run, but it's okay in English. I understood what you meant. So then, this is it. It's like, especially when these people come who disturb our what we had in mind and what we wanted to do. So it's like, and so many times, you see, I don't think any of us who is here, we have big hatred and we go around the whole day being angry and all this, but we have small angers, small moments of getting upset that we're not taking care of. And then they build up and build up and build up, and then a small thing and we explode, and then people around us go, hey, but what's the matter? This is just a small thing. But as we are exploding, the thing is not small. So we're trying to make our case that this is a big thing, and everybody thinks like, what's going on now? Yeah, so this is it. Because our angers are not very big, and because we are not doing big negative actions, we're not taking care of them. And that's the danger, because then they go into the subconsciousness and then they give a result at one point, because karma increases, as some of you might know who have studied Buddhism. Yeah, okay, so we go to the next verse. So this one was saying, you know, one person out of ignorance does wrong, the other person gets angry and then retaliates out of ignorance. So who is at fault? Because in Buddhism, there is no such thing as he started it or she started it, because it's since beginningless time. And this again, you know, you can accept it or not accept it. Buddhism would say the mind has no beginning, because you cannot have some moments where there's nothing, and then out of no reason, there's something. So whatever is now needs to have a cause. Whatever that cause is also the result of another cause. And so they say, mind has no beginning, the same way as I think science says, like also the universe has no beginning, it's just transformation. You know, in order to make something, you need to have something. You know, so the mind, for our mind or consciousness, needs the moment before, and this is why there is no beginning. So then this, you know, here he says, look, stop going on about feeling justified of retaliating because he started it, because both of us do negative things, negative actions out of ignorance. And now he's asking himself, why did I previously commit these actions, meaning unhelpful actions, which create these imprints, these karmic imprints, because of which others now cause harm to me? So I did a negative action and now it's coming back like a boomerang. Yeah, like karma is like a boomerang. Sometimes it takes a long time to come back, but it always comes back, you know. But then the thing is, we don't know that we threw it. Yeah, and then we think that, whoa, why is this happening to me now? So this is a view. Yeah, this whole thing about karma is a view. So we already had this homework, I think, at one point. You have to check when something harmful happens to you. Is this view that I have started it, I have thrown the boomerang, is this view helpful or not helpful? If it's not helpful to make you more calm, more accepting, but again, it doesn't mean you become a doormat. Yeah, I hope you understood this by now. It doesn't mean you don't protect yourself. It doesn't mean you don't call the police if somebody harms you. But you are not thinking you're the victim. This is it. You are not the victim. It's more like, okay, something is coming back now that I have started. I don't know when I started it. I don't know in what form I started it, in what life I started it, but now it's coming back. Okay, what do I do now so that it does not continue? This is the whole thing about law of cause and effect. What shall I do now that it does not continue?
Oh, that's a good one.
Somebody say, oh, yeah. So since everything is related to my actions, why should I bear malice towards these enemies? Yeah. So sometimes I compare it a little bit. Sometimes I compare it a little bit with the dentist. So I know I have to go and see the dentist. So somebody who is harming me basically is like a dentist. The only problem there is that the person who is harming me is creating negative karma because they have the intention of harming me. But if I wouldn't have the karma to be harmed, they couldn't harm me. Whereas the dentist, he doesn't create negative karma because he has a good intention, I hope. Unless he's goes like, you know, unless he has pleasure when the people are going, like this. So then again, it depends on the motivation of the dentist. But the dentist is causing me pain. I know it's my fault because it's my kind of bad teeth I have. I even say thank you and I pay the bill. So with the karma, when karma is ripening, we don't have to pay the bill. It's just the pain of not getting what we want. So actually, again, you know, be careful. This is very, very, very high thinking. Because if you don't really know how karma works, if you don't have the self-confidence that your nature is good, then it can turn really the wrong way around, and you think, okay, I deserve to be harmed. It's a good thing. You put yourself into danger, and you go like, oh, if it's not my karma to be harmed, you know, I cannot be harmed. That's a total misunderstanding of karma. Okay, like the whole thing, I deserve it? No, but it's your responsibility. That this bottle fell on my head, I don't deserve it, but it's my responsibility because I put it up there. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So, you know, think when you start to bring karma into your way of thinking, you really have to understand, you have to study the subject. You really have to understand how it works. Yes, Hadar.
I wanted to ask about,
yes, please,
this karma or responsibility, because maybe if we think about our responsibility like something from the past, from long time, maybe it's a little bit tricky for not taking responsibility, because many times, and from other studies that I'm joining in Israel, I don't know if you heard about the Kabbalah, but yes, so there's this.
I don't know if it's the same view. This is the thing. I can't compare, but yeah, please tell me about it.
Yeah, it has a lot of things that are alike, but there is a say that we have to look at our responsibility that is also immediate. When I felt I have a very last moment, not last moment, but example that I felt that a friend is a bit aggression at me when she talks to me, and I was saying, okay, I felt bad. I felt in my body that something is not. But then I said, what on you? What did you, or what you brought to this conversation that invited this aggression? And what if you started the aggression, or you have a kind, but very immediate, not something that happened long time ago, and you know, it may be easy to say that maybe the karma was from long time ago and not look at now.
Oh, you think so?
Am I understood?
No, but this, you know, the result, whatever happens to you, that's from maybe long time ago. But then how you react to it, this is now.
But sometimes the result,
because we always react to something. So as you react, you create new karmic imprints.
But sometimes the result is coming from the very few moments before that brought the result, not from far away, no?
But I still have to, oh, yeah, but why she was aggressive to you also, that also is from, you know, from far away. Usually, that's what they say. Karma doesn't ripen immediately, because you see, if karma would ripen immediately, then every time I'm kind, there should be kindness coming back. Okay, if what I'm doing now gives an immediate result, then it should be, for example, that all the honest people on this planet would not be so poor, and all the not honest people would not have so much power. Do you see what I mean? So sometimes it looks as if it's, you know, she's unkind to me because I brought also something like some aggression to the whole thing. It looks like that, but still, there's still something from the past, they would say.
Yeah.
Why it is like this. It is so, karma is very, very complex. And with karma just means action, by the way. So with karma, they say, well, you know, why this is happening to me now, all the different factors, what I do now, what I did in the past, all this is coming together, and it's only a fully enlightened being who can really understand why this is happening to me now.
Okay.
And also there is no, if I may say, add something, there is no contradiction about past or ancient times of our childhood and the here and now.
Yeah, I find also, I totally agree with you.
Saying that all our habits are rooted somewhere in our very, very early days. But now we act and react. I understood karma as acting and reacting all the time, acting and reacting.
Exactly.
And this is happens from moment to moment, from moment to moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's always the zoom on this very moment and the wide frame of our whole life.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is, because the way we react now, you know, it has so many different factors. You know, if we would know all the factors why I now blow my nose or why I say whatever I'm saying, I mean, it's like it's mind blowing. We wouldn't be able to hold it. We wouldn't be able to understand it. Yeah, like so many different conditions, so many different factors create things, and we usually, this is it, when we are very tight in here, when we are either angry or afraid or very self-centered, we only see one factor. And then we concentrate on that one. And then it's like, you know, then it's really like not understanding nature, that if I want to have a flower, I need water, I need manure, I need warmth, I need a seed that came from another flower and all this. But if I just see the flower, I go, ooh, what a nice flower. But I forget, like, for example, all the people who were kind of working so I can have this flower now if I buy it in a shop. Yeah, and then it becomes my flower. Yeah, and there's no gratitude, no really understanding what this flower is all about. So yeah, this is why what Hadar said. Me also, I don't see a contradiction. I don't see how you can become careless when you think it's coming from the past. Right. Even if it comes from the past, it's just as important. It doesn't really matter. And what Michal is saying, what is important with the karma thing is, how do I react to this? What do I do now? How do I stop the cycle of victim, aggressor, victim, aggressor, victim, aggressor, victim, aggressor? How do I stop it? And how I stop it is the next verse. He tells us how to stop it. So
what you say, it's very connected to the two lessons before, about the anger, when we become the anger. So when every tension we have, narrowing our mirror, our being able to see clear. Yeah. And in that case, we become the anger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then it's directed at that person. It's their fault, you know. What Hadar was saying, it's very good. This is the question. It's like also, okay, she seems to be aggressive. How did I contribute to that situation? Or more, what can I do?
Okay, you know? That's a question.
What can I do? And very often, the problem is very often we take anger as a helper or aggression as a helper because we don't get what we want. Yeah, and we don't see that it doesn't help when we are angry, because anger always feels justified. This is the problem. Yeah. But also, you know, you being from Israel, gosh, at the beginning, maybe the first year that I was in Israel, I thought like, why are these people always angry? You know, it just comes across like this when you come from a different culture. And then, you know, whatever, now after so many years of coming to Israel, now I see, you know, what looks like anger is not anger, it's just being loud or whatever, just habit also.
Okay.
And I had to laugh also because I don't know if you know Australians. Australians are quite rough. And Japanese people are very careful with what they're saying and how they say it. So then I was, I think I talked about Australia to a Japanese person, and he said, you know, I mean, it's terrible. In Australia, everybody is always angry. For me, Australians are the most cool people in the world. And not the most cool, but they're very cool people, Australians. Yeah, but for him, because in Japan, you're very careful, and especially with your words, you're never hurting anybody. They say, like, if you shoot the arrow of truth, you first have to dip it into honey.
Wow.
So I don't know if any of you have been to Japan, but they are so skillful. If they have to criticize you, they first tell you what you did right.
Wow.
And then, so I didn't, you know, I learned a little bit of Japanese, very, very little, but I knew 2 words really well, because then I knew now I have to start listening. One is shikashi and takara. So shikashi is therefore, or takara, or the other way around, I can't remember. I think shikashi is but, and the other one is therefore. So they go like, blah, 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 all the things you did right. I wasn't interested in that, you know, because I wanted to learn. So then, a long thing, and then, but you are too slow, or something like this, you know what I do. So first they say, you work very carefully, it's really nice what you do, and this and that, and wow. And then, but you are too slow. So then, you know, they build you up first, and then you can take the criticism. Because already then you know you've already done something okay. So this is why they say, if you shoot the arrow of truth, you have to first dip it into honey. It's skillful. It's not to trick or to manipulate people. It's just very, very skillful. Yeah, when you have to criticize somebody. So what Shantideva now is saying to himself here is like, why did I previously commit these actions which bring results that I dislike? So then he says now, when I have seen this to be so, when I have taken karma, you know, when I've seen that I am never just a victim. But again, you know, when we talk about karma, please do not use it to whole groups of people who go through terrible things. Use it for yourself to calm you down and to see, okay, I've started it somewhere, what do I do now? Because you react differently when you take responsibility than when you feel like the victim, when you feel that you are innocent, yeah? So when I have seen this to be so, that I have kind of, that, you know, there is nobody who has started it, that there's so many different conditions coming together, each one has their share. You have your share from past karma, the person who is aggressive with you now has their share also of creating, you know, of being unpleasant. So you can definitely stop them if you can, or you can do something with the situation. When I've seen this to be so, I should strive for what is meritorious in order to certainly bring about loving thoughts between all. So this is kind of, verse 69 also is kind of, he reminds himself that he's a bodhisattva. So one of the duties of a bodhisattva is to create harmony between people who are fighting. Not to, you know, not to put more oil on the whole thing by taking sides. This is why when you practice bodhicitta, the practice of equanimity, that there is no real stranger, there is no real enemy, and there is no real friend, becomes very, very, very important. That instead of I and them, your mind becomes us. The us of shared humanity, that we are all going through the same thing. We all want to be happy, nobody wants to suffer, and we still are, you know, we still haven't reached that goal that we can be happy. We still have, you know, happy moments. Of course, there's happy moments, but there's so many problems. And, you know, now with the COVID, everybody is convinced, not everybody, but many people are convinced, oh, once the vaccination works and the COVID is gone, then everybody will be happy. It's as if everybody was happy before the COVID, but we have these kind of funny views. Yeah, so he's kind of encouraging himself, okay, my dear, now you have to be more careful, and in order to certainly bring about loving thoughts between all, meaning, trying to resolve conflicts and definitely not be the instigator of conflict. Okay, so maybe we stop here and do some Tara practice, unless you have questions or you want to say something. And as a homework, what I gave the Swiss people, because we're more or less on the same point here, which is funny, which is great. So because I can also compare different views, Israeli views and Swiss views. We all have national delusions, we have the way there we can see how culturally influenced we are when you teach different countries the same text at the same time. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see. So the homework for the Swiss people was, when they are getting upset or angry, to stop and pause, which is always a good thing to do anyway, to stop and pause and to think, what was it? To think kind of, would there be another way to help the situation or to solve the problem than with anger? And if yes, how? So this is basically this verse. When I have seen this to be so, that with my anger, I'm just pouring fuel on the situation, on the fire, I should strive for what is meritorious, to find a skillful way. I don't like the word meritorious so much, but to find a skillful way. I have a different thing here. To find a skillful way to help the situation, to help to stop that person from being aggressive, Hadar, for example. It's nice to be able to stop people from being aggressive because they're not happy when they are aggressive. It's a good thing to do, but usually it doesn't work with aggression. Is it clear? Like the homework? So first of all is to notice the anger, to pause. And then to use the cortex, from the amygdala, we go to the cortex and we go like, hey, okay, in what way can I now be the Bodhisattva who brings peace and harmony and happiness into this situation? And sometimes there's nothing you can do. And then you accept. You see, even the Dalai Lama cannot make world peace, even though that's what he talks about all the time. He can only tell us how to be peaceful. He cannot make it. So who do we think we are? That we can solve all the problems. We cannot, but we can at least try with non-aggressive methods, with wisdom and with compassion and with love and with friendly kindness, okay? And with honesty also. But don't forget, if you shoot the arrow of honesty, first dip it into honey so that it doesn't hurt so much. Also honey, it's quite amazing. Honey and butter as an ointment is very healing for infections. This is what more nature people are doing. Yeah. So when you shoot, when it hurts and it makes a wound, the arrow, then it could already bring some healing to the wound.
Anila, but sometimes it sounds like this structure of yes, but. You are great, you're a great person, but it's also annoying. Like if you put honey in the criticism, sometimes it's empties, the but empties all the great things you said before.
I don't think so. If those things that you said before were honest, it doesn't. If they were just blah, 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 if you invent things that this person doesn't have, if you invent qualities that the person doesn't have, then yes. But if you mean it, so you have to be clever, you have to really find things that this person is doing well, I think. I just found it funny. I just found it a little bit of waste of time because I'm quite direct. So, and also my Japanese was very, very basic, you know. I mean, it was I was only there for 3 months or something. So, but it's an interesting country, especially with the politeness and carefulness and, you know, the honesty at that time. I don't know how it is now. It was 40 years ago. So I was traveling around. I could leave my backpack in a train station and go and see the city and then come back and take the next train. So if you would leave a tip in the restaurant, the waiter would run after you and say, you forgot something. Amazing.
I think also maybe Netta, the word bat is problematic because the word bat is like contradiction. But if we say yachad im, with so, you are that this and this and this, and with so there is also this. It's different between.
Yeah. Well, criticizing people is always very difficult because we ourselves also don't hear it. So then it's good to turn the whole thing around and say, okay, if I'm in this situation now, how would I like to hear? So what I usually do, I give suggestions and say, hey, what do you think if what do you think if you would do this differently or something like that? Yeah, it's very, very difficult. To criticize people is like, if it's not necessary, let it be. But sometimes it is necessary. Yeah, so especially if you have responsibility like that. But yeah, and then again, Netta, all this, we're just making samsara a little bit better. We're not solving the problem with doing these things, right? The only way we can solve the problem is when we realize emptiness. So then again, we are trying to make, with these methods, one is trying to make the mind really calm so that this whole thing about emptiness becomes more clear. Because when your mind is really calm, and as I said, when you have these gaps between the thoughts in your meditation, then you start to see like how a mind free from negative emotions but awake could feel. Yeah. Whereas when we're constantly turned up with fear, depression, self-cherishing, and all this, it's very, very difficult to find what the Buddha really meant with there is no separate real I, me, or self. Yeah. When there's absence of, when we are aware of absence of I or me and still function, when we're totally with somebody and we totally forget about ourselves, and we function really well. We're not getting tired, we're not getting burned out, all this, but then when the thought comes in, oh, what about me? The energy is finished. Then again, it's a separation. So
Annie, isn't it very similar? Isn't it very similar to Winnicott method about the oneness and two-ness?
Okay.
And he determined it as a paradox that you cannot really solve. That we are okay. We always strive very, very deeply into oneness, being one with mother, for example, and on the same fourth to separate to two-ness.
Yes.
And those two forces are living together like a dialectical behavior.
So, in Buddhism, one would explain the two-ness comes from a wrong view of thinking that we are separate. And we are totally holding on to that view and we're seeing it as true and as real. And when we examine it, it's like, nobody is separate. We can't, how can you be without your parents? Without mother and father? Nobody can be without mother and father. Yeah, so, but we feel as an individuum, and just the word individuum means indivisible. I mean, we can divide ourselves into body and mind, that's one thing, and then into many parts. And then very much, the food that I'm eating comes from somebody else, has kind of, so many people have been working for that food. So when I eat that food, do I have a connection with them? Do I become oneness with them? Am I totally separate from them? So it's very good questions to ask us. In what way? I think I'm separate, but am I really separate? Cannot be. Yeah. So this whole thing. And this is why there's so much problems, and this is why we don't have the happiness that we want, because we don't understand what oneness means. Doesn't mean I'm you and you are me, but we are all part of the same thing. But we see ourselves as separate, and that's why we're having problems.
Like the Midrash in Judaism from Chazal, that each of us is a part from first man, from Adam.
Yeah, okay.
Like in a way that we are all Adam. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just like this word shared humanity, you know. If we look, okay, we have different color skin, we have different religion, we have different country, we have different this and that. But 99.999%, all the humans are totally the same. We all want to be happy. Nobody wants to suffer. We all have like 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 ears, 1 liver, 1 heart, 1 lung, 1 kidney, 2 kidneys, 2 kidneys, you know, bones, flesh, this, da, 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 da. Like if we look what we are, out of these very small differences, we make such a huge thing. But we're all the same, basically, you know, 99.999%. And this is based on wrong views that we are different, that we are separate. Yeah. Okay, let's do some Tara practice before we go. If you'd rather not, then, well, anyway, thank you very much for participating. Don't forget the homework to think when you get upset, when you get angry, then you think, okay, it seems that this is giving me energy now because that's how it looks, but is there a more skillful way I could deal with the situation than with anger? Helpful, skillful, whatever word you want to use. And then now we just, you know, just for a short while, we think about that we want to bring goodness into the world. I'll show you how Tara looks. This time I was aware enough to get her out before. Now she doesn't open. I got her out before the talk. Okay. So this is Queen Tara. It's a fully awakened mind in action. It's the action of a fully awakened mind. It's why she's green. It's the color of the wind. And it says she can really help us to connect with our own Tara energy, because we all have these skills. This is the thing, but we can't access them. Whereas Tara is already enlightened. So she's helping us by seeing her reciting the mantra. She's helping us to tap into our own goodness and wisdom and these kind of things. And you might have seen I was pointing to my heart and not to my head, because, you know, love, compassion, these things we feel in the heart. You know, we're not feeling it in the head. So we think, you know, a strong motivation. I really want to bring some goodness into this suffering world. May I be able to bring love, harmony, happiness, even though to the sick people, to the dying people, to the poor people. But may I bring some kind of, if I can, of course, physical things, but may I bring some mental peace. And then we try to feel our own goodness. That's where I was pointing, in the center of our upper body as a ball of light. And to think, hey, this is my nature. I can be good. I can be kind. And very often it looks as if I need anger to solve my problems, but it's not true. I need intelligence, wisdom, kindness, love, compassion for myself, but also for others. And then with these thoughts, you know, we can almost feel that this ball of light is growing, and it starts to fill our whole body. If you want, as it grows in our body, you can feel that all the solid things disappear, dissolve. Because when we look at kind of the, you know, the neuron level and the these kind of very subtle things, our body is not as solid as it seems. This is science who's telling us. It's a lot of space in our body and constant movement also. So as the light is growing, you can visualize that your body fills with the light, and then as it is with light, it goes out. You can keep your form if you want, but the light goes out in all the directions, to the east, to the south, to the west, to the north, above and below. And it brings all our good wishes and all our good thoughts of, may all beings be safe. May all beings be protected from physical and mental harm. May all beings be strong, healthy, free from fear, loving and peaceful, because we all have the potential. We can all be loving. Some are just very far away from their nature. May all beings be able to connect with their innate loving heart. And may all beings be able to live their lives with joy and ease. And as we chant the mantra of Tara, Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha, she appears in the space in front of us. And from her body also, from her heart and then from her body, these supporting light rays are going out to bring relief, to bring happiness, to bring peace and harmony. And from our body also, the light rays are going out. And as it goes out, you can see how it transforms everybody into more happiness, less suffering, more mental peace, less anger, less attachment, less greed, and so on. We should never underestimate the power of our mind. When we do this with a good intention, we take the help of Tara, who is already enlightened, and we take the help of our not enlightened potential yet to send out some goodness to the world. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. 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 Now try to stay in that space a little bit. Maybe feeling some calm, feeling some peace. And then with the wish, kind of, may other beings benefit from my own inner peace. That whoever sees me, hears me, touches me, thinks about me or talks about me, may it only benefit them. No matter who they are. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, really, thank you very much for participating in such a nice way. Makes it very interesting to hear everybody's experiences, because this is what it's for, you know. So, because not just theory, we also have to see what it does, this whole thing. Sometimes it works, and it works really well. Sometimes total failure. So everything is okay. Main thing is that we share our success and our failures on this spiritual path. So also then we see, you know, we're not the only one who sometimes fail. So that's good. So
Thank you.
I don't have to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, but maybe
good night.
Huh?
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, I can wish you. Have a very good night, so that you know, when we are rested also, it's much easier to have a positive mind. So make sure that you sleep enough, and again, be safe, be healthy. Thank you very, very much, and see you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye bye, Anina. Thank you
Bye-bye.
very, very much for
Thank you, bye.
kind words.
ביי.
תודה רבה לכל מי שהשתתף.
תודה לך.
תודה לך. תודה
נתראה
רבה.
בשבוע הבא.
ביי ביי.